Well, we'll see how many people actually attend, with it being a Saturday afternoon in the summer. Then for people further east, it's Saturday evening in the summer. It's not necessarily good attendance at the event, but it's enough, and then people watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah.
Lots of people ask for the link, and then very small proportion only actually do attend. But lots of people, those same people who ask for the link, do watch the recording. So it's
Okay.
a very targeted audience, and it's kind of nice. I find it's more successful than casting a wide net if you just speak to the people who actually want to hear what you've got to say and tailor it to them, and then you actually
Yeah.
get more registrations and response out of it. So how I like to do it.
Did you see that I have an offer I want to extend out to the audience?
I saw that you have a free, I saw the window of your email to Neil, but I didn't read the whole thing. So what's the offer?
Well, the guides have prepared a free bundle for everybody that includes um like a meditation, a master class that I did. There's a mini meditation course, all kinds of stuff packed in. There's like 5 different things.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah, the guides are active, aren't they? They like this
Oh,
kind of thing.
yeah. They're
Mm,
they're
no.
pushing me hard. I had to get all
Oh, it
that
just
stuff
doesn't,
ready.
no, it just doesn't stop, does it?
No.
Mm.
So is Neil going to be showing the links, or do I need to be able to do that?
No, don't worry. Neil will
Okay.
show your website.
Okay.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Just keep everything as simple as possible. The first time we did a community call, we couldn't get on it. Or we could hear everybody, we could see everybody, but we couldn't get onto it. So for 30 minutes, we were struggling to figure out why we weren't getting on the call ourselves. And we had all these people from all over the world waiting. It was
Where
horrible.
did you have a limit on your room size?
No, it was some other glitch. I don't know what it
Oh,
was. Our limit, I think, is 100, which, we don't get close to that. I mean, in those calls, we had about 50, 60 people, but many more requests. It kind of unfolds as it goes along. The most important thing is to offer it. That in itself gets our names in front of people and gets them aware, and then to make the recording, and usually there's some nice questions and some nice interaction, so that enhances the whole thing, and
mhm.
then to post it. So it's a process. We'll see. I'm surprised no one's joined us yet, but we'll see what happens next. As I say,
Oh, so they have this address to come in the room? Oh, okay.
everybody has the same link.
Cool. And who are you gonna have go first?
I think we'll let Midge go first and you go second.
That's good.
Yeah, I think it
I
works.
was curious about what she was gonna say because I thought there might be something I needed to tie into with her topic.
Well, she's talking about energy healing in the law and explaining her information, her book, and her exam, and so on. And it's kind of important for people to, what I'm wanting to do is break the ice for people, because people are hesitant to go look at something like that. But if you open the door for them and show them around a little bit, then they start to really respond and get more interested. So that's what I wanted with Midge is, because I'm now going to make it a requirement for people, if they want their certification, they need to have done her exam, because it's also reasonable and also excellent. And but it's nicer if you meet the person. Hi, Becky, welcome.
Good to see
Bye. So Leigh and I are just chatting about Midge's book and exam, which I'm going to let Midge explain or introduce herself and everything. But Leigh was asking me about it. So Heather Lee, this is Becky. Becky lives in Chicago area.
Hi, Becky.
Hi, nice to meet you.
You too. Back in the Midwest.
Yes.
She's in
Love the Midwest.
in the busy, intense part of the Midwest, and I'm in the nice, laid back part of the Midwest. But Becky's one of my up and coming leaders in the crystal surgery community. So
Oh, wow.
pleased to see you, Becky.
Nice to see you too, Vivien. That was very sweet of you to say.
No. I tell you one thing I learned fairly early on as a practitioner is never to reinforce something that isn't actually what I want to see repeated. Because once you reinforce a behavior or a comment or something that people have done, you can't get rid of it ever again. It's been reinforced and it gets imprinted deeply into the system. So I do not speak lightly, and I do not reinforce what isn't what I want. If things are good, but not only approximating what I want, I'll say that. I'll say this is good. It's in the right direction. I'm very precise with acknowledgement as well as everything. Hi, Misha. Welcome to our community call. It's nice that you've joined us. I see you using a photo, and I must remember to let people know that if they do not want their image used, they must remember this is a video that's going to be posted. So I must remember to remind everybody of that. So we can. So how's your summer going, Becky?
Really good.
Did you do your garden this year?
My yard has been overflowing with flowers the whole year. It's been absolutely amazing. We've had such nice weather for it. And literally I have like just 2 very small pieces of grass in my yard and everything else is flower beds.
Please take photos and send me, Becky, please.
I will. I have some. I do have some I've been meaning to send to you.
Oh, okay. I've been waiting for them since last year.
I know. Well, it's better this year. I think you'll be very proud of me, Vivien. I've been making wands.
You have? Have you got some to show us? See
They're
what I
sitting under a
mean?
pyramid. So this is my Shinneck one.
Wow.
As soon as Connie did the video for us, the maple tree in my backyard gifted me this piece of wood. So it got
Goodness.
on it.
Oh my word, look at that.
Isn't that fun?
That is fantastic. It's the way to go because those ones are so darn expensive.
Yeah, so I've made like 8 so far.
That you made with copper tubing. Look at you.
Yes, so this one has the aqua aura and the like angel aura on it. And these are the stones I got from you with the green apophyllite and the green fluorite.
Perfect.
Ooh, I need that one. How much do you want for that one?
And this is going to be one of my favorites. This is jet and amber.
Oh, wow. Two things we use that aren't actually minerals.
Yes. So that was kind of this. So this is like the whole amorphous kind of energy. Not sure how I made it yet, but I made it specifically to work with the non-crystalline structure for whatever reason.
That's right. No, perfect. Perfect. That's great.
Beautiful work.
So, yes, I'm trying to get all my wands lined up for this fall.
You will be so pleased, Becky, and you'll be so pleased because you know that you made them yourself makes it actually has quite an impact on the work and the effect of the wands and the way that they work for you and the way that they communicate with you. And it, you know, because there's all that synergy is built into the wand, the synergy between the crystals and the wand structure and the maker of the wand. So that's pretty darn fantastic. You'll be very pleased. You'll see what a difference it makes. It's really different when you use a wand. But have you got a Uvite and magnesite and hematite coated quartz wand?
I have one downstairs, but I was actually thinking I was going to talk to you to maybe get a different piece of Uvite to fit on the end. I don't like the piece that I have from you. I want to just keep it. So I may need, you're on my list of things to think about.
Oh, okay. I'm on the list. Am I? Glad to know I'm making the list. Hi, Midge. Welcome.
Thank
To the
you.
call. Hello. Yes. Yeah, very good. So now we've got Deborah. Hi, Deborah. Looking at your puppies there. It's good to put your puppies in front because we're talking about puppies today, aren't we, Heather Leigh?
Yes, we
Oh,
are.
awesome.
We just got, it's going to be so fun. Deborah lives in the same neck of the woods as you do, Heather Leigh. Deborah Felton. She's in,
In Colorado?
yeah.
In Manitou Springs.
That's where I am.
Really?
Yeah. Where you been?
I've lived here for almost 30 years. I don't know.
Wow. I just got here in January, so we'll have to connect.
Nice.
No, it was funny because I spoke to Heather Leigh on the phone and to get ready for the radio show. And then she went to get her hair done and the hairdresser was Winnick. So she met Catherine Winnick and then, I don't know, they got talking about me, of course. So
Yeah, of course.
they figured out that they both knew me. It was
Yeah.
very funny. Okay. Hi, Kelly. Welcome to the call. We will begin at 3:00 and it's not 3:00 yet, as far as I can. What's the time, Neil? 2:59. 2:59. 1 minute to go. Hi, Nicole. Oh, I must get the chat up. Yeah, so I can see. Hello, Nicole. That's very nice.
Hi.
Hello, Elizabeth. Welcome. Canny's here. Canny gets up in the middle of the night in New Zealand.
Oh.
Everybody to listen to us. So you just got to know we're all across the world. In Kia ora. Thank you, Canny. Thank you, Kelly. That was fun. It's good. You're all using chat correctly. Remember that if you speak and the camera goes onto you, your image may land up posted on YouTube. So you'd rather use chat if you don't want your image on YouTube, okay? So, don't use your mic in your video if you don't want to be your image on YouTube. All right, I'm going to put that in chat. Wait, that's not how to do it. I'm the dunce when it comes to this stuff. That's why we have to have Neil helping me. Yes, it's okay. Remember that this will be posted on YouTube, so don't use video if you don't consent to your image being included. Video. Right. Okay. I know that people will join late. I know that others, can everyone hear me clearly? Okay. All right. So it's rocking along quite nicely. I'm very, very pleased. We got a lot of requests for the links. And I know that many people who asked for the link will not join us on the call, but I know that they will watch the recording, and so will many others. So yes, we are recording now. Are we recording now, Neil? Recording, yes. We are recording now. Recording is active. So this is wonderful. Welcome to our crystalhealingtechniques.com summer community presentation, and we have something unusual today. We have two guest speakers, and the one is Midge Murphy. Midge, if you'd like to wave hello, I'll pin you. So yeah, pin just to wave hello there, Midge, please. There we go, that's Midge, and she's going to speak to us about energy healing in integrity, because Midge is an energy healer and she is also a lawyer. And so she is really helping with the professionalism of energy healing. And that is something that I will talk a little bit more about because, you know, it is one of my most important topics. So thank you very much, Midge. You are going to be speaking first, and now I'm looking to remove your pin so we can all say hello to our other guest, who is Heather Leigh. So let me just, there we go. This is Heather Leigh. And Heather Leigh actually lives in the same area as two of our graduates, both Deborah Felton and Catherine Winnick, live very close to where Heather Leigh has moved to. So we've got a little buzz going over there in Colorado. Very exciting. So now the reason why I've asked Heather Leigh and Midge to come and speak to us all is because I was so excited when I met each of these two people. And where did I meet them? I met them because I'm on the mailing list. Our radio show, the Schapera show, which is on healthylife.net, we are on the mailing list of a company called Conscious Media or something like that. And they let me know sort of who's who and what's what in terms of new authors and what their books are. And I chose from their lists of people that they send out, you know, as a guest for your show, I chose to speak to Midge about energy healing and the law. And I spoke to, and I chose to have interview Heather Leigh Strom about Canine spirit guides. And I do one interview per month only, so I'm very, very selective. And these two people really stood out as having something important to say to us as a community. And that's why I wanted to interview them. And then, you know, when you do it for the radio show, you're doing it for the public. But I really wanted to get them to both speak to us as a community. And I am so grateful that they said yes. Because, of course, this isn't a paid gig or anything like that. But I think that their work really, really stands out. Many of you know that I founded Four Winds Academy for the Healing Arts and Sciences. And my reason for founding Four Winds Academy is because I think that energy healing should step into the mainstream as a profession. And in order to do that, it really has to be legally practiced. And you need to know about where you stand as an energy healer when it comes to the law. And it doesn't matter whether you are in the United States or in New Zealand, you still want to know what the laws are of your country. And then there are certain guidelines that are just to do with ethics, integrity, and professionalism. That's not to do with the law either, but this is where Midge really makes everything clear. Her book is wonderful, and she also has absolutely fantastically an exam, and it's not difficult, but it makes sure that you do pay attention to the material, and it's not expensive, but it does give you a qualification that protects you, because there is a liability involved in working with others. There's also a liability involved in training others. And so I have really asked Midge for her help, and I'm going to get a lot more from her. But I also wanted to bring you all along for the ride, because I figured that if I thought that Midge is important, then you should too. And that's why Midge is here with us today. So we're first going to hear from Midge, and then very excitingly, we're going to hear from Heather Leigh about Canine spirit guides. And I promise you, this is innovative, new material that absolutely gives you goose flesh all over. So I'm sorry to keep you on the edge of your seat for all of that, but we must pay attention to what Midge has to say first, because that is really, really important. So Neil, are you able to show the websites at this time? Okay, so Neil's going to show you Midge's website before she speaks, and then Midge is going to talk to us, okay? No, we're seeing your horrible desktop. It's kind of scary to look at. Yes. Okay. So this is Midge's website, and I want you to see this because sometimes you feel a little resistance. And so, see, there's her book, Practice Energy Healing and Integrity. The joy of offering your gifts legally and ethically. Now, I want to tell you something very interesting about this book. I was reading it on the plane, and Neil was reading it over my shoulder, and it was riveting for us. It was so important. So who would expect a book like that to be riveting? But it is, because it is really, really important to us as practitioners. Okay, thank you. We are going to hand over to Midge now. Let me find that. Let me pin. Thanks, Neil. And then we'll show Heather Lee's at the beginning of this. Okay, Midge, over to you.
Excellent. Hi, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to be with you today in your community. Really appreciate Vivien allowing me to share some information and introduce myself to you guys. First of all, my name is Midge Murphy. And I am an attorney, and I also have a PhD in energy medicine. And I received my PhD in energy medicine through Holos University, and I worked with Norm Shealy. I don't know if you know who he is. He's one of the founding members of the American Holistic Medical Association, and Carolyn Mace. They were both on my dissertation committee. And so even though I do not practice law per se anymore, I do offer professional liability risk management consulting services. And so what I found when I was going through my PhD program, I really didn't know what I was going to do with it. And as the spirit and how the universe works, it was clear to me once I finished my program, and I was invited to speak at a couple of schools that were doing some training in energy healing methods, that there is really no information out there. And this is 15 years ago, about how to have an ethically and sound practice. And the thing is to bring in information to practitioners so they understand that there are some legal risks involved, and that's not to be scary. But it's also important to bring forth our highest level of integrity so we can be in the best service we can to the people that we serve. So I'm also an energy healing practitioner myself. So I'm kind of like this bridge between two worlds, the world of energy healing and the world of law and business and regulatory issues and government regulations, all of that, which can be really overwhelming if you don't have a background or experience in that. So I really am here to be in service, to raise the level of professionalism of the entire energy healing community. And let me give you a little bit more background in terms of what energy healing methods I've been trained in. My first exposure to energy healing was as a hospice volunteer here in Eugene, Oregon. That's where I live. And I was offered the opportunity to learn therapeutic touch. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's been around for a long time. It came out of the nursing profession, and it is considered a biofield practice in terms of working with the energy of the person that you're working with. And I had no idea that I could feel energy. It was an opening for me, an opportunity to realize that I have these gifts and talents within the realm of intuition and energy healing. And so that kind of led me on to explore a little bit more, get my PhD in energy medicine. And I'm also been initiated as a Reiki master. I'm certified in matrix energetics, and I've been a student of shamanism for over 20 years. And I've worked with several teachers, including 2 indigenous healing medicine people, and have spent a lot of time learning indigenous cultures and about the shamanic processes. So in my energy healing work, those are the sort of the tools that I bring to the table. And I work with both humans and animals. But my focus and where the universe is really wanting me to spend my time is this point of being an educator and a consultant in this field. So Vivien very nicely mentioned my book, and it's there on my website. And it's a great resource because it covers so many different topics. First of all, you need to be aware of how do we fit within the current legal and regulatory framework that governs healthcare professionals. We are healthcare professionals. We are offering healthcare services to the public when we have a practice. So I think it's really important to get a sense about where we fit and how we are operating within the current legal and regulatory framework that governs helping professionals. And also about just essential ethical principles. Because this is what I've observed over the last 15 years, and I've worked with hundreds of people all over the country and outside of the country, is that there's sort of this
Somebody right there that can shut this door.
Yeah.
Shut it, please.
Sorry, whoever that was, remember to mute, please. Okay, thanks. Please continue, Midge.
All right. So, in terms of what's happening in the United States, we're moving more and more towards the states wanting to regulate the practice of energy healing methods. But I think what has been evolving over time, and I was so appreciative of Vivien really understanding that this is so important and crucial to moving our field forward and to have more access to the public so that we can do the work that we want to do with them and help them. And that is this concept that, well, of course I'm ethical because I want to help people. And I honor that. But there's so much more involved in the therapeutic relationship between the practitioner and the client. And so I really delve into the concept of creating a sacred contract. That's how I define the ethic of caring. And there's a whole chapter in the book about that. And the use of archetypes to really understand what a sacred contract is and what our sacredness is, with not from a spiritual or a religious standpoint, but really from a sacred spiritual standpoint in terms of the relationship that we share. And so it's important to really understand that we have much more to think about. What does it mean to have a client-centered practice? Do you understand the issues of the power differential that's inherent in every therapeutic relationship, and about the issues of transference and countertransference and issues of confidentiality and privacy? There's so many issues that you need to be aware of in order to practice in integrity. And so that's what the book is all about, is to teach and to explore some of these ideas so that you have a good foundation and understand what it is to work as an energy healing practitioner in integrity in a professional setting. And of course, a lot of people think, well, ethical, I can learn about ethics. I've learned some things about ethics, but ethical violations can lead to legal liability. So that's why you can't separate them out or say, oh, we'll just do some ethics training here. You have to address the legal issues as well. And so my book talks a lot about what we call scope of practice and what it is as an energy healing practitioner, if you're not licensed, what it is you can and cannot do with your clients legally. And the biggest risk that we face as energy healing practitioners here in the United States is being charged with practicing medicine or psychotherapy without a license. And a lot of it has to do with how we market ourselves, what words we choose to use, so that the perception is that the government takes a look at us and say, if you say you're a healer, there's two issues with that. Just give you an example. First of all, the only healer in the room is the client. I am not a healer. I'm an energy healing practitioner, a biofield practitioner. I am not a healer. And secondly, if you call yourself a healer, if you use that term, you are practicing medicine without a license here in the United States. So there's just this lack of awareness around what are the risks and how you can get yourself into trouble. The last thing you want is a cease and desist letter from a licensing board accusing you of practicing medicine without a license, and they make you close your practice. So I don't want to scare people. It's all about being empowered and having knowledge and information so that you make better choices about how you present yourself to the public so you can reduce these risks, because there's risk inherent in offering yourself as an energy healing practitioner in the United States and elsewhere for that matter. So the ethical principles in the book really cover, it doesn't matter where you practice, Timbuktu, Kathmandu, or Eugene, Oregon. Ethical principles are the same. So I go into a lot of depth about that. And then also it's important to understand, how do you assess whether a client is a good fit for what you're offering? So here's an ethical failing. If you think anyone that walks into your office or books a session with you over the internet is the right client for you, that's a huge ethical failing. You really need to know how to assess whether or not that person is a good candidate for energy healing work. Not everybody is. And you can do someone a lot of harm if they're not a good candidate, especially if they have some psychological issues. Things like this can create a psychotic break with someone if they have a really intense shift in their energies. So it's really important to understand who's a good candidate and who's not, and who comes to you who really should see a psychotherapist instead of an energy healing practitioner. And so you can refer them. This is how we take care of our people. This is how we act in integrity. So this is sort of the essence of the book and what I do. And the other key thing is marketing and websites. And I'll talk a little bit about some of the services that I offer that are different from just the book and the exam based on the book. And that is, I audit websites of all my clients. And I have to tell you, 99% of websites out there that if I have not audited, and that's not coming from a place of ego, because I know what I'm doing, is that you're in violation of the law without even being aware of it. Here in the United States, we have something called the Federal Trade Commission, and it is the regulatory agency that governs how we offer our services to the public. So how people advertise their products and services. And unfortunately, there are very strict rules and regulations about how healthcare professionals can market their services to the public. I'll give you just a little simple example. So many of us on our websites love to post client testimonials about our work. Well, client testimonials can really backfire on you if they're not done properly. And that's because you could have a client say, oh, I went to Susie and I had 3 energy healing sessions with her, and now my insomnia is gone. Well, insomnia is a medical condition, and only licensed medical doctors can treat insomnia. So you've already put yourself at risk of any medical licensing board in the United States could send you a letter saying, hey, you're practicing medicine without a license. And what the FTC requires is competent and reliable scientific proof if you make any kind of a claim about your services. And so that testimonial doesn't meet that standard. What does that mean? It means double-blind, placebo-controlled human clinical trials published in peer-reviewed journals. So there's ways that you can mitigate that. And so some people say, well, hey, wait a second. You know, this is her truth. This is what happened to her. And, you know, she should be able to say whatever she wants. We have First Amendment rights here in the United States. Well, no. Because once that client testimonial is published on your website, you lose the First Amendment rights because it is a form of advertising. And therefore, the Federal Trade Commission rules and regulations supersede that. So it's really important to be careful about what kind of claims you make on your website, what kind of words you use on your website, and how you use client testimonials, because it can really backfire on you. So that's one of the things I also offer, besides the book, and then the exam based on the book, is I offer a number of risk management packages. And I've worked with both licensed and non-licensed practitioners for over 15 years all over the country. And it's about mitigating and reducing the potential legal liability you have when you offer your services to the public. So one of the key risk management strategies is to audit your website. And what do I mean by audit? That means I go through every single word on your website and make sure that you are not inadvertently put a big red flag over your head, and to make sure that you're reducing your risk as much as possible. So things like, I offer treatments. Well, that's a word you don't want to use. And I cover that in the book. There's a whole chapter on websites and things not to do and to do in terms of wording. So you do not want to create the perception that you're practicing any kind of licensed healthcare service. So that means you offer sessions. You do not offer treatments. You don't use the word therapy. You don't use the word healing unless you use it in a context that is called energy healing or crystal healing or something like that, so that it diminishes the fact that you're not offering straight healing services, because that's the practice of medicine. So it's important. The nuances of the words are so important. And so I'm kind of like a wordsmith. So I create a memorandum and send it to you and say, okay, these are the changes I think you should make to reduce your potential legal liability. And then you can go ahead and make those changes right there on your website. And all of a sudden, all the red flags start to fold, and you're in a much cleaner and more integrity position for not getting someone, either the FTC or a licensing board, coming after you. The other key component is what we call a website disclaimer. And that's the legal document that governs the relationship between you and visitors to your website. And that is a key component. And that is something that's so important to have. And I talk about that in the book as well. And it needs to be drafted specifically for the contents of your website. There is no forum. And if you try to borrow form from someone else, you're going to mess it up and it's not going to be protective of you. But it really helps to explain that, energy healing methods are considered experimental. We're not working with the physical body, we're working with the energy system of the body, allowing the body's natural ability to heal. There's all kinds of words that you can use depending on what methods you offer that really reduce your potential legal liability and also makes it really clear to a potential client what it is you're offering, because confusion with clients is what creates disharmony, creates anger sometimes, and creates clients wanting to sue you. So this is what we want to avoid. So the third component, and one of the packages I offer, is a client agreement and disclosure statement. And that's the legal document that governs the relationship between you and when you work one-on-one with a client. And the law recognizes a much higher level of responsibility that you have to someone who is a client of yours. So it needs to be drafted specifically for you. It needs to be in compliance with the laws and regulations that apply to you. And it depends on the state that you're involved in. Some states have healthcare freedom laws, require certain disclosures that be made. So this is critical and even if you work across state lines, which most of us do as energy healing practitioners, you have to remember that that is the document that can not only outlines, and it's an energetic form and a written document that is you and what you offer, but it also protects you from legal liability with your client, makes it very clear exactly what you're offering, what you're not offering. They assume the risks, blah, 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 all the stuff that needs to go in there as a legal document. But also if you're questioned by a licensing board and you show them their client agreement, you make it very clear you do not offer any kind of licensed healthcare services. And so that's another key component to have a legally sound and ethical practice.
Sorry. Yes. Okay, please continue, Midge. Thank you. It's excellent.
So there's the risk management packages are all about empowering and educating so that the bottom line is, I think what's happening in the United States especially is the federal government and the states are moving towards regulating energy healing practitioners. Now, in some states, they've already done that. And that is if you use any kind of touch methods like quantum touch, therapeutic touch, even sometimes Eden energy medicine, healing touch, that you have to have a massage license, which is totally ridiculous because, that is not the practice of massage, even by legal definition. But they really don't know what to do with us. And so I'm actually working with I'm the president of a new nonprofit that we're working with the government to establish an organization that can interface with the state governments that would allow schools to be approved by us as a nonprofit, and their practitioners could be certified on a national level that would be exempt from licensing. So that's one of our visions to help move this more forward. But I think it's important to realize that unless these components are done, we're going to be marginalized even more. And of course, there's still a lot of kickback. There's still a lot of negativity about energy healing practitioners and the services we offer. We're a bunch of nuts, a bunch of woo-woos. I think, and when I learned therapeutic touch, there was all things, it was Dolores Kruger, they were calling them the Kruger crazies. So we have to understand that there's a lot of pushback, but we know that these methods can really help people. And so I'm really dedicated, it's my path of service, to educate and bring the whole field up to a level of professionalism so that we can finally integrate more into the healthcare industry. And where we're going with this here in the United States is the buzzword now is integrative healthcare. So there's been a huge shift about, yes, we do know that there's a mind-body connection and that, there are these methods that can be helpful in terms of chronic illnesses. And right now, though, the only ones that are accepted are acupuncture and chiropractic medicine. That's in the field of complementary and alternative medicine, which is a consensus term meaning anything and everything outside of bio-Western medicine. So we fit into that category as well in a subsection of energy healing. And there's the psychosensory, there's the EFT tapping. So I think as we move forward, it's important to just be educated. And instead of I know it can cause anxiety sometimes or anxiousness, but what I've found is that when I've worked with individual clients who come to me with those anxieties, once we put the risk management strategies into place, they are so relieved. They have freedom. They feel like they're more in alignment, because if you don't have this cloud of this dark cloud over your head, is, am I going to get in trouble? They're going to find out I'm doing this, or am I going to get charged with practicing medicine without a license or psychotherapy without a license? Then it removes all that. And so it's expansive, and it allows you to open up and to be more free about offering your services to the public. So that's what I do. And this is my path of service. And what I really recommend about the exam is it's open book, and it's done online, and you earn a certificate of completion. And that's a professional credential that you can show and let your clients know that you have the certificate of completion. You know, discerning clients are going to know, what's your training, and how long have you been doing this, and do you have any training in ethics and legal issues? I mean, all healthcare professionals who are licensed have this. So it's not surprising that this should be something that's important. It should be just automatic. But there's been a lot of resistance in my experience because it sounds scary, but it really isn't. It's very empowering. So besides the risk management packages and the book and the exam, if you're an EFT tapping practitioner, I have an online course specifically for tapping professionals that a number of EFT tapping schools use as part of their core curriculum for their certification programs. I also have some free blog articles on my website. So, and I offer free 15-minute consultations to find out what's the best fit for you in terms of a risk management package that may be best for you and your practice. Now, some of you may actually have to remember this, offer classes and courses or do workshops. So that's another place where there's potential legal liability when you're working with the general public. And so it's really important to have a participation agreement if you offer a workshop, to make sure that they understand you're just the facilitator. It doesn't create a client practitioner relationship. The fact that they show up at your workshop, that there's that boundary is very sacred, that you're not a client, because you have a lot more legal responsibility if they're a client. Makes it very clear in your participation agreement that they're participating, that you're facilitating or teaching, that you're not offering, that there's no client practitioner relationship involved, that, you're here to teach them this, it's not the practice of medicine or psychotherapy, that, if inadvertently you have any distressing emotions or physical reaction to the work that we're doing in the class, please let me know, and know that if this is the case, you need to stop, because we know that sometimes just doing some light tapping on a particular event can trigger someone. So it's really important to take care of people, even not only if they're one-on-one and they're a client of yours, but also if they're in a workshop or in a course or a class with you. So there are agreements that you can put into place so they know that they are responsible for their actions and what they learned from you, and that you're not responsible legally. And that's really key. So it's called assumption of risk and release of liability. And I don't know if you guys have been to a yoga class, you have to sign a liability waiver saying, you have to take responsibility. If you hurt yourself in this yoga class, it's because, that was accidental, but you have to take responsibility for yourself. And so this is important when you offer workshops to the public as well. And so that's another package that I offer. So I know, hopefully I didn't talk too fast, a lot of information to get across, but I think, it's my mission and my passion to continue to raise the level of integrity for the entire field. And that's where Vivien and I have this heart connection. And she sees that this is also important because she has a certification program and she teaches practitioners. And to just be able to be in service more to the general public. And we can't do that until we raise our level and become more professional and competent in these areas of the ethics and legal issues that affect us as energy healing practitioners. So maybe I'll leave it open to some questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Midge. Yes, we're going to, if you have questions, it's a good time to ask. So Katie has a question there for you, Midge. What about Yelp and Google testimonials that aren't on our website?
Yeah, I'm not an FTC lawyer. That could be problematic. I mean, it's a step away. It's not you, but it's still reflecting back on you. So I think that could be problematic, even if it's not on your website. If they're specifically referencing you and there's a link to your website on that Google ad or that Yelp ad, that could be problematic. It's possible.
Shaheen wants to know, what about a general disclaimer on websites such as for entertainment purposes only, or not a replacement for medical or legal services, etc.? The
Well,
general disclaimer.
yeah. Well, there is no such thing as a general disclaimer, period. Every website is different, and every website needs a customized website disclaimer. And it's based on what state you're in, what methods you offer, and it's not for entertainment purposes only. You are offering a professional healthcare service to the public. So that's why a legal disclaimer is critical, and there's no such thing as a generic disclaimer. It needs to be done, it needs to be customized to protect you, and it needs to be properly placed on your website. Now, where I see is the disclaimer is like there's a little link at the very bottom of the page. You can't even see it. Well, that's worthless. The FTC requires the disclaimer to be very conspicuous, is the word they use. It needs to be easily seen. It needs to be easily accessible to the visitor of the website. So when I audit a website, my recommendation and my advice is you need your disclaimer button along with all of your other headers on your website. So, homepage, about the services, about Vivien, maybe about courses, and then your website disclaimer, maybe contact. It needs to be right there, prominent, in order to protect you. And the thing is, what you have to remember is we are not selling widgets. So a lot of people, well, it's no big deal. It is a big deal because of the risk that's inherent in what we're offering. And so that's why the website disclaimer is critical. And if you just slap something up there and think it's okay, it's not, and it's not going to protect you. So that's why it's important to understand that it needs to be conspicuous. Don't put your website disclaimer tab at the bottom of a page you can barely see. So this is really important. That's a great question. So thank you for that.
And Midge, what about medical professionals using a ministry certification to avoid conflict with legality? That's the next question in chat. Does this work?
It doesn't. It's worthless. It's totally worthless. Now, I have worked with a lot of medical doctors, and there have been medical doctors that have lost their licenses for practicing energy medicine. So some set up a separate practice. There's ways you can work with it if you have a really good informed consent, and I've drafted some of those. And the fact that if you're ministering under your medical license, you'll lose your license in a heartbeat. So the other issue, there's a big myth out there that if you go on the internet and fill out a form and get ordained, that somehow that provides you legal protection. And it doesn't. It's worthless, especially around doing any kind of like pastoral counseling, that kind of stuff. So what's happened is that there's this myth out there that you're protected. And so what the biggest risks that not licensed people face that want to incorporate energy healing practitioners into their practice, whether it's a psychotherapist or a medical doctor, is they could be subject to professional discipline for practicing below the standards of care or outside their legally defined scope of practice. And that means that what means subject to professional discipline means is they could lose their license, they could be suspended, put on probation, and that's kind of the cycle of things that happen in those regards. So again, I work with those kinds of professionals. How can we mindfully and purposefully and carefully bring these energy healing methods into your practice so that you don't face the risk of losing your license? So it can be done, but having any kind of a ministerial certificate doesn't protect you at all.
I just want to say, I want to add to what you're saying, Midge. I want to just say to everybody, it sounds absolutely terrifying when you read the book and you listen to Midge speak, and she's so crisp and clear and well versed in all of this. It does feel it feels overwhelming, there's no question, but I have worked with Midge and I will be talking about that more. It is amazing to work with her. So she knows what the rules are and she helps you navigate that in the most supportive, compassionate, understanding manner. You feel like a different person afterwards because there's actually energy healing about this topic going on as Midge is working with you, which is why I really wanted you to meet Midge and hear her speak, because then when you work with her, remember, every single one of us is an individual, and that is what Midge understands, is that you need to tailor your disclaimer, you need to tailor your materials, you need to tailor your waivers to suit you specifically. Because I see that Deborah's got a question, is it possible to draft a disclaimer that is valid around the world for those of us who do distance work? And I know that the answer is yes, but it has to be for you as an individual, and Midge takes time and care to work with you. It is the most phenomenal experience to work with her. I cannot explain it, but there's a reason why I have asked Midge to talk to you all and why I want you to meet Midge, is because this is something so important that puts us on another level. It's the level that I want to see us at. It is extraordinary to get this stuff straightened out. And for us, it's scary because we don't know. And for Midge, it's not scary at all. It's her bread and butter. It's what she works with, and it's her passion. So she just helps us. It's amazing. It's absolutely fantastic. I'll show you,
Yeah.
because I asked, we're doing the paperback edition of the textbook, and there's an enormous and important addition, and that is that Midge helped me and put the disclaimer up in the front of the book. And it's one page, and Midge wrote it for me, and she sent it along. She said, this is the long one, and she sent me a short one, and she said, you can use either one, and I said, no. I need the full-on disclaimer. This protects me so that people who use this book can't come and sue me about what's in here. Because by going on after the disclaimer page right up front, that's now their responsibility. And you got to remember that when Midge was talking about assessing whether somebody really needs to do energy healing with you, it's a good candidate. It's really about assessing whether you want to work with that person or not as well, and being able to set good boundaries. Boundaries are so helpful to healing and so helpful to knowing who you can work with and who you can't, because people who can't observe boundaries, you don't really want them as a client. They're going to drive you nuts in one way or another, and there's a kind of a danger too. So I just want to, I can't underline and emphasize enough, don't be scared, be glad. Be glad that Midge is telling us these things, and then she's not going to disempower you. She's going to empower you. That is the important thing to know. This is empowering information, not disempowering. But you need to know where the traps and pitfalls are, and that's why it's empowering. She gives you a map.
Yep. Thank you. Well said.
Thank you. I see no more questions since then. Midge, thank you very, very, very much. I'm so grateful that you were willing to come and talk to everybody. And I do want everyone to know that this is, from now on, from today, this is a requirement to get your crystal surgery bachelor's certification, to do this, to read the book, to do the online exam. And we are putting in a link on our website, and this will be explained to all of you. It's very important that you know that, and that you have no idea how glad you're going to be that we are taking this step. It is another step, and a very important one, towards professionalism, and also to avoid the problems of licensing. To be able to do that, you can hear this is what Midge is working with, because you You do not want to become regulated by a licensing body if you can avoid it. And that's why I am so strict with our standards and everything that we do. Thanks, Midge. Are you ready
Thank
to
you,
go?
everyone.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I will unpin here. Move pin. Excellent. That was so, it's music to my ears when professionalism is the topic, especially here in our field. It is music to my ears. It's so, so, so important. Very good. Well, let's all just take a moment to be thankful for Midge's input. And then we're going to move on to Heather Leigh, and we're going to start with Neil showing you Heather Leigh's website, and then Heather Leigh will talk. Wow, there you are. You are in the right place, and I'm so glad you are here. Very nice.
You're going to show the special page.
Oh, and there's a special offer, that package that Heather Leigh's guides put together for you all. So there it is, special offer bundle. Absolutely amazing. Wow. I'm on that.
Be sure and write down that address if you want to access it, because that's a secret page.
Oh, you'll have to send me the link so people can request it from us, Heather Leigh.
Strom.com/free-discovery.
Oh, is this for us? So you'll have to, if you need this link, Neil, you'll have to put that in chat. Put the link in chat. Neil will put the link in chat. Is that okay, Heather Leigh?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Okay. So this is going to be super duper. Let's go over to you, Heather Leigh. I will pin you.
I think I just have to talk and I'll be in the center stage.
No, we've still got Midge. Sorry, Midge. Glad that you weren't doing something different. I thought I couldn't see what I was doing. I have lost Heather Leigh. Where did you go? Something went strange here. I can't find you, Heather Leigh.
I'm here. I'm here. Am I at the bottom?
Just keep. All right, go. Go again.
Something odd has happened. I can't find you on my screen.
I'm invisible. It's that
You-
5D influence I have.
Did you do something to our Zoom call? We've got your voice, but no image and I can't pin you.
I can see myself. I can't. I mean, I'm right on the top of the screen.
She should for a second.
Okay, I'm going to let Neil fiddle with this because it's not my thing. Give me a crystal any day.
Yeah. At least that way we get to see Neil.
Yeah.
Bye.
There's Heather Leigh.
Okay, pin.
Okay, now take
Get
that
rid
pin
of
out. Oh, got you.
Got
Yay!
me? Okay.
Off you go.
Can everybody see me? All right, let me pin myself. I can't see either. Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me here, Vivien. This is an incredible opportunity to be in front of your community. And thank you, Midge, for that incredible discussion too, and revelation on the legal aspects of our practice. I come from a medical background, so I was struggling with how to express all those legal requirements and yet not be in that field. So this is going to be something I'm going to have to research, probably get your book and read, and maybe consult with you to make sure I'm aligned with that. So thank you so much for bringing that to our attention and for all the work that you're doing. I'm Heather Leigh Strom, and I am a galactic healer and a canine a galactic canine channel, which is a new term. And I wrote my book, Canine Spirit Guides, 2 years ago as I was awakened into my purpose. So my entire awakening is in this book, the entire story. But what happened was I've always been a dog person. I used to be a dog trainer for most of my life as a dog trainer, international competitor, breeder. And I always had this special gift with dogs that I just kind of assumed everyone else had. I didn't really feel like I was psychic, yet my intuition was off the charts. I would have dogs call to me from all over the world, and I would have to find them. And they were part of my soul family that was guiding me through this process. I couldn't hear them at the time. I didn't understand this was happening until I was awakened into my purpose. And these canine spirit guides began to channel through me to create this book, which is um, this is where they are introducing themselves to the world, to humanity. Canine spirit guides are unique. They're not what you think they are. They are the spirit guides of our dogs, except that, our spirit guides are here for us. The canine spirit guides that are working with humanity through the dog is not actually here for the benefit of the dog they're working through. They're here for the benefit of humanity. They're here to help humanity heal. And this was a huge concept that took me a long time to understand what they were trying to show me. And through the stories that they gave me to share in the book, they showed me where they were trying to work with me and with what dog they were working with me through certain aspects of my life. Several of the dogs reincarnated and still carried that same canine spirit guide because I didn't learn what I needed to learn, or I didn't accept the opportunity to heal what I needed to heal that canine guide had to offer me. So this is all explained in the book, and it is set up for each canine spirit guide. So you'll learn about each canine spirit guide. Each one has a different frequency and a different focus for what they're here to help humanity with. And through my journey of writing this book, they used their healing technologies with me. And I evolved very, very fast, very fast. My healing took only 6 months. This almost 400-page book was written in 6 months, and I'm not a writer. I didn't know I was going to write a book. It's completely channeled, and I never had to guess what was going to be written. I didn't even see the big picture of what the book was going to be because I only wrote the book as I was directed by each section for each canine spirit guide. So I would write the section for one guide, set that aside, write the next section, set that aside. So they would only let me work in a certain order. What I couldn't see at the time was that they were working with me in this order. They were healing me with lifetimes and lifetimes of I had ancestral patterns I had to clear. I had trauma and karma I had to clear. I had fear-based patterns of my own that I had just carried from lifetime to lifetime, and I know a lot of us can resonate with that I had to finally clear. I was terrified to be myself. I was terrified to come out into the world. I would have never sat before you like I am now, sharing my truth, because I was too self-conscious about it, and I didn't know my truth. So through the process that they used with me to heal me while I was writing their book and sharing their messages, I was able to heal very deeply, very quickly. And as I healed with each guide, I was then ready to move to the next guide, to the next level. And that's why they made me stay in this order with the book, because I had to get through the levels in their system in order to get to the final and be able to write the final part of the book. And as I healed, my channel came in so clear. When I began, I was just scribbling. I was trying to free write, and it would just be scribbles on the page. Nothing was coming through. I was so frustrated. And then as I progressed through their program, I was getting a clear channel at the end. I didn't even have to write, it was just coming through and I would just speak it. So they took me through this entire process very, very fast. And what I learned after the book was published was that it wasn't just the book that I was meant to do, it was the healing that they have to offer that I was meant to share with the world. And that blew me away because I was not a spiritual healer at the time. I wasn't even working in spiritual medicine. I know I'm not supposed to say that, but I wasn't even in that arena. I was, for 30 years, I was a physical therapist, and then I ventured into functional medicine. So I was ingrained in the physical world, in the practical world. And for me to have to step out of that comfort zone, out on a ledge, and proclaim myself, even though I didn't totally understand myself yet, was a big, scary risk. And I did it anyway because that's what my guidance was telling me to do. And I knew from experience that I had to honor that. The more I ran from it, the more I shrunk from it, the more it would only impact me negatively. And it was also robbing from other people that needed this as well. So here I am, I stepped out in front of the world, and I'm working with people all over the world, healing with this advanced technology. That's their term. The Canine Spirit Guides have shown me that what they offered me and what they're doing with my clients is a form of advanced energetic technology that we have not, humans, have not been ready to receive until now. You know, we're going through a big shift right now. We're going into 5D. We've got a lot of energy moving. We have a lot of assistance right now to help humanity move to that next level. And the Canine Spirit Guides are part of that assistance. They're only one version of that assistance. They want us to have a lot of variety so that we have something we feel comfortable with, that we feel like we can resonate with, and that will attract the people who maybe might not have the courage to step into this transformation unless it had something to do with dogs, right? Because our dogs are our life. Yeah, the reason they showed me that they're coming in through the canines, by the way, there will be other animal kingdoms that come through. They're starting with the canine because of the heart opening that humans have for the dog. I mean, we genuinely share our heart with our canines, and that's rare from my experience. Most people I know don't share that same level of connection with people in their lives. So the fact that we have this massive heart opening for the canine makes it easier for them to connect with us. So that's why they're coming forward now. And another question I get is, why me? And I did ask that question many a times. Why do I have to do this? I don't know anything about this. I did a Reiki course. I'm a first degree Reiki. I did that back in 1989, and I just kind of put it on the shelf. I wasn't real comfortable being in the medical world. I wasn't real comfortable using it. So I kept asking, why me? Why do I have to do this? And I was shown myself on a different timeline. I was actually able to go and visit her. And what she was doing was she was caring for all of the animals in multiple dimensions. So these were animals that we don't even know here. And I was able to see all of them. Some of them looked familiar. Some of them I had not seen in this earth plane, certainly, but I could see her. She was a version of me in a completely different dimension. And she was showing me her job. She was showing me what she does and how she does it. And also that she was going to guide me through this process. So what I've learned is that I have played this role with the animal kingdom in all of my incarnations and all of the dimensions that I have lived in. And it reminds me a lot of that Harry Potter movie, Magnificent Beasts. Is that what it's called? Um, that character, when I saw that movie, just lit me up. And this was before writing the book, this is before my awakening, something about that character was very familiar to me. And so my role is very similar to that character in that I serve as a guardian or a custodian for these animal, and they're not domesticated or anything like they are here. The animal frequencies in other dimensions are much more energetically advanced than any type of humanoid that we know. So many of the cultures in other dimensions and on other planets will sit and consult with the animal spirits, the animal guardians, a lot like shamanism, and they will help them learn and progress spiritually on that plane. And so that's what they're trying to bring into this planet. That's what they're trying to help us with, to shift the consciousness of humanity and to demonstrate and to connect with humanity on a different level as a spiritual teacher. And they have the ability to shift a lot of energy. They're very powerful. So that was why they chose me. It's always kind of been my job. And when I had a astrology reading before I started this whole process, what was it she said? Oh gosh, it just jumped out of my head. I can't remember what it was, but there was something significant um, about the reading that she gave that predicted this entire process. I can't remember what it was. It was incredible, but if I remember, I'll bring it up again. But so I'm working with these canine frequencies, and you can see the pictures behind me. They resonate with a conjoined frequency of the canine collective and also the shamanic spiritual energy, the animal energy. So they have a conjoined image that they wish to be share with us, and that is with a dog breed and also a wild animal. And the dog breed image, part of the image, will sort of display or share with us the characteristics of that canine spirit guide or the specialty of that canine spirit guide. And the shamanic animal half of the guide resonates with the energetic frequency that they wish to share with you. So depending on which version you might see before you when you work with them will be significant to what message they have for you, what energy they want to share with you, what sort of blocks they're going to be helping you to eliminate or reconnect with. And so their technology is incredible. They've constantly surprised me with what they're capable of, and I never know what a session is going to be like. Sometimes they give me a preview, sometimes they tell me to just wait and see. So usually when I work with somebody, I will sit in 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 chamber, I call it chamber, in a psychic chamber with this person's energy before I meet with them. And I'll ask which canine spirit guide wants to work with this soul today. And they'll give me a history of the client. They'll tell me exactly what the client needs to know about themselves, the journey they're on, where they're going, where they've been, what needs to be cleared, what needs to be aligned in this moment to get them to that next step, to that next level, to allow them to move forward. And when I meet with a client on a Zoom call, I share with them everything I've been told. And also if the guides have given me a preview of the session, I'll share that with them as well. And then we go right into a healing portion of the session where I channel in that frequency, and it kind of looks like a guided meditation. And for the clients who aren't visual or they can't perceive in any way, I just tell them to imagine what I'm describing to them. The clients that are visual or auditory or tactile, then they're seeing things before I can get it out of my mouth because it takes me a while, a minute or two sometimes, to come up with a way to describe what they're showing me or what they're telling me. So the clients usually receive a tremendous shift. If they can't feel it immediately, then it'll still work with them for a couple of days, 3 or 4 days. Sometimes the clients who aren't quite ready to go super fast, it will take longer for them. So the canine guides always give them homework. The session that we do together is recorded and it's sent to them as like a meditation file, so they can sit with that frequency, continue to work with it. The hardest thing for clients to do is to just let go and allow, and also to hold frequency. So what I describe to my people, and I said this in some podcasts too, is that when you have an energetic session or you have an energetic healing, your frequency is shifted, your frequency is elevated. For those people who've never been to that address, it can be very confusing. And what happens is if you don't fill out a forwarding address to your new frequency and commit to that frequency, you rebound and you go back to your old address. So I tell my clients, be sure and fill out that forwarding address so that you stay in this frequency. And by sending them home with homework, then they're able to tap back into that technology and tap back into the healing they received. And it gives them a means to ground in the new frequency that they just somewhat installed so that they can maintain it for longer. So that's it in a nutshell. If there's questions, I'm certainly happy to answer them.
Thank you, Heather Leigh. That's
You're welcome.
fantastic. Anyone, if you have questions for Heather Leigh, put them in chat. It's the easiest way.
And then the address that I gave you guys, the web address, that's a bundle of different services that the Canine Spirit Guides have channeled in for the clients. So one of them is a mini meditation workshop that is channeled frequency to assist in the meditation process, especially for new people. Also, there's a master class that I did where Anthea and Oregon graced our presence with a healing session. And there's also a very special healing meditation from Anthea in that package that's incredibly powerful. So try it out. And then there's a handbook in there. I think there's something else too. It's full of some goodies. So take a look at it. And you can even up level that if you want to try it out and do a session. I'm offering you a discounted rate on a private session as well. So that option is there too.
You were so generous, Heather Leigh. Shaheen has a question. Could you say more about the healing that you experienced? Shaheen wants to just know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, you mean when I was writing the book, that journey? I can't see her. Where is she? She's saying yes.
Shaheen's a he.
Oh, he. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't think the image is up for Shaheen, but
Okay.
Shaheen, if you want to be clearer in chat about your question, do you mean while writing the book or? Yes, while writing the book, the healing you experienced while writing the book.
Okay, so basically I had no idea what was happening to me. I didn't even want to meditate because I'm a type A personality and I don't like to sit still. So when I was told I needed to meditate, I was like, hell no, I'm not going to do that. So I had some resistance. And, being from the medical profession, I'm very in my brain, I'm very cognitive. So I would sit in meditation and for a long time, nothing would happen. I'd get so frustrated. I did work with a mentor that helped hold my hand through all this. But he was not allowed to deliver messages from the canine guides. They would not speak to him. So I was on my own as far as that went. They would let him acknowledge that I had it right or redirect me if I had it wrong. So that was all they would let him do. But so I would sit in meditation, and as I got better at connecting to my inner self and connecting to what I needed to heal, they would just start taking over the meditation. So my meditation would be hijacked, and all of a sudden this frequency would just move through me, and this massive wave of emotion would come up literally from bottom to top, all the way out. I would start shaking and trembling. Tears would stream down my face. my eyes would squeeze shut so tightly that they'd flip inside out. The eyelids would flip inside out. And the breath that was coming through was so powerful that I would exhale so fully that the alveoli, the sac at the end of in the lungs, it's very thin. It's not even paper thin. It's thinner than that. When you expunge all that air out of those sacs, they stick together. And so I could feel that my alveoli were stuck together. And I'm thinking, how am I going to inhale now? You know, it was kind of freaky. So that was like a total cleansing out. And I would finally take that breath in. And I don't know how long it would last before I would be able to breathe back again. But I would go through several it was just a total expunge of energy, trapped energy, lifetimes that had been hiding there. And then I'd come out of the session and I'd be like, oh, I feel great. And I'd come out of the meditation room. My husband's like, you look like you ran a marathon. I feel like I did. So, things would come up like this. And one thing that they always stress is we don't need to know what it is. We don't need to know where it came from. That's a human belief that we need to understand it. We just need to be willing to let it go. And so they were just taking it all from me, just ripping it out. And I had no idea what was going on, but I trusted. I had faith and I felt totally safe. And as I went through the several adjustments like that, things became more and more clear. I could meditate better. My channel was developing, coming through, and I could see the world differently. Oh my gosh, all this energy came flooding in that I couldn't embody before because was containing all this old energy that was in the way and I couldn't hold it. So that's part of the process they do with my clients. Until we can empty the tank, we can't embody more frequency. And that's where some practitioners kind of try and skip that step. And a lot of the clients want to skip that step because they're expecting it to be painful and ugly. And the way the canine guides do it, it's not painful and ugly at all because they just lay it out for you. So this is what it is, and this is what we're going to do. And they just do it. So that's kind of what the process was like. And as I matured through it, I could see more, I could hear more, feel more, understand more, see the big picture. And then I was getting more and more information coming through about ancestral patterns that I didn't even know I had and that I was carrying around, that I had agreed to, stuff like that, that really affects our ability to connect with ourselves and to find our mission can hold us back. And that's what the canine guides are so great at showing us.
Whew.
Yeah. That's a day in my life.
Heatherly, there's another question here. Do the guides have names? Maybe you want to tell
yes.
us the names of the canine
Yes.
guides. Yeah.
Yes. So, of course, they all have, I'll give you a little tour. So Anthea is the first guide, and you have one of her meditations in the free offer bundle. She's the golden retriever and the cheetah. And she's like a grandmotherly figure, and she works a lot with divine feminine frequency. And this is Oscar. He's a very different frequency. He's the black and tan coonhound, which I had to look up. I didn't know anything about that dog. And also the lion. He's a masculine energy. He also connects us with divine masculine, the true healed divine masculine. I just did a course with the two of these where we were working on activating the congruent divine feminine and masculine. So many people not only can't hold divine feminine and masculine, but they can't hold them simultaneously. So these two guides came forward and we did a whole day workshop on that. And it was incredible. And I had no idea what they had planned. I was so surprised. And then this is my heartthrob. She's on the cover of the book. This is Oregon. She is the Basenji and the Black and Tan, or the Black Panther. She's magical, absolutely magical. If you decide to read the book, you'll find out why. This dog that was working with this guide was unlike any other dog I've ever experienced. She has incredibly high frequencies. She's very delicate. She's kind of like Lady Diana, the healed version of Lady Diana. Very elegant. And she has a special task in that she helps us remove any masks or shields that are obstructing our vision of ourselves and blocking our ability to connect to our soul completely. So she does a lot of soul work with my clients. She's really powerful. This one is, he calls himself the creme de la creme. He's something else. He's different than all the others. Matter of fact, if I have all four of them in the room, the other three get out of the way and make space for him. He takes up so much space. So he is, this is Daman Yaran Eric. I don't speak any other languages other than English. It was so hard for me to get his name, and I certainly don't know how to spell, so I had to consult somebody to help me spell it. But he goes by Eric, Heric, and he's incredibly powerful. He is the bald eagle and the pug, which is a really strange combination. And my corgi that I have right now is working with him. And her personality, the thing about these guides is the personality of the guide will match the dog that's working with that guide. And this guide has worked with me 3 times now, and each time there were different breeds. I had a Sheltie, a Border Collie, and now a Corgi. Exactly the same personality, exactly the same. He's very aloof. Matter of fact, he doesn't even, when I do an opening ceremony with the 4 of them, because when I work with someone in a mentoring program, the first thing we do is an opening ceremony. All the guides come forward and share what they have in mind to help this client with. He'll kind of hang around in the background and then just kind of pop in when it's his time. And when his energy comes in, I had a client yesterday that said this very thing. He's no nonsense. He doesn't joke around. He doesn't want to know how your day is. He just gets to work and makes things happen. The other 3 will kind of coddle you a little bit and coax you and hold your hand where you need it. But as far as he's concerned, by the time you're ready to work with him, it's time to get to work. So very powerful. And he helps us connect the bridge between many, many, many dimensions. And he helps my clients understand their interdimensionality. I don't even know if that's a word, but that's the word they use. Interdimensionality. And that's how I was able to go so fast. Once I got to his abilities, I soared well past anything I thought I was capable of doing or achieving. And I certainly never thought I'd be channeling them for other people. So it's because of him and his ability to connect me with that I was able to go so fast. And there's been 2 more guides come through since. There's a total of 50 of them, 52 maybe. So as I work with clients who are surpassing the skill set of these 4 guides, I have more canine guides coming through, introducing themselves, working with these clients. There's going to be more books as I, share them with the rest of the world, but it's fascinating stuff.
Phew. I always complain that I was kidnapped by crystals, but you've been taken all around the universe, it seems, by your canine spirit guides and into parallel realities and other
Yes.
dimensions. And it is, I see Shaheen put that in the multidimensional, and that's what
Yes.
this is, isn't it? I mean,
Yes.
it's very striking because for me, a lot of this stuff, it gets a bit much, it just all gets a bit much. And you got that great combination of groundedness and this exploration truly this exploration of a multi-dimensional reality that it just hits that bell of truth that I'm always seeking, and I appreciate it so much, because usually I just go, oh, what now? This is too much for me. And with you, it was like, no, this is someone I can really relate to and identify with, because your story with your canine guides is very similar to my story with the crystals, where
Yeah.
they just want you to do it, and they don't care about your objections. In fact, it's because of our objections where we say, but we're scientists and we're this and we're that, and it's because of those objections that they wanted us. And
Yes.
it's an interesting dynamic, Heatherly, and I'm very grateful.
Thank you. I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was one of the reasons I never wanted to be spiritual. Because most of the people I knew my whole life that were spiritual were kind of airheads. And I'm very grounded. So I didn't want to have to be that person. I wanted to be who I am, yet be spiritual. And it was so enlightening for me to be able to realize I can be both.
And I think that part of this truth is that it started with dogs, because I don't have dogs, I have cats, but I see with my clients and I see with my friends, and I've seen over my whole life, and my dad as well, how important dogs are to humanity. And actually with Midge as well. I mean, Midge had a dog named Bear, and I felt Bear when I spoke to Midge, and then I feel your canine spirit guides when I speak to you and interact with you, Heatherly.
Yeah.
And it's got a ring of truth to it that I don't hear that readily in other contributions.
Thank you. I'm so touched. I feel like such a beginner, so I'm very honored that you would say that.
Well, but the canine guides are not the beginners,
No.
so, and yeah, well, I feel like a beginner too. We all do. I mean, that's part of the deal, is that we're honest about it, and we feel like we're making it up as we go along, and then we also know it's not even us.
Mm-mm.
It's amazing. It's like we've got to step aside. It's not an ego thing, and it just is what it is. And that's been a very powerful, and those are the elements that we share, Heatherly.
Yeah.
It's very, very nice. Are there any more? Thanks, Becky. It is extraordinary, isn't it? I'm so glad. And so, I just feel everyone who's here today is getting it and appreciating this so much. Are there any more questions for Heatherly? And I hope that you picked up the link, and we will make sure that the link is published in the newsletter when we post the Zoom call as well. That's going to make it easy for everyone to get the link.
Yeah.
So I know I'm going to take you up on that offer. That sounds absolutely amazing.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it.
All right. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to speak next. I'm not going to be long. I'm going to unpin you if I can. There. Thank you, Heatherly. That was just great. So now I actually, I'm ready to answer questions whenever there are questions. I want to just give an update about the crystalhealingtechniques.com community, and what's going on, and when the semester begins and things like that. But I'll also answer questions if you have them. We've kind of used up our time, so I am going to be very brief. The semester begins on, let me see, I made notes, so let me look at the notes so that I don't talk nonsense. The fall semester begins August the 10th, and if you want to get into the partner roster for the first 4 weeks of the semester, please register by August the 3rd, because then I know that you're in. Now, that doesn't mean that registration closes on August the 3rd. What it does mean is, if you want to be in that in the first 4 weeks of the partner roster, I need your registration by August 3rd so that I can get that partner roster up and moving, and it's very exciting. I've got news about the textbook. We have only 3 copies of this book left. See, we got like mirror writing here. So there are only 3 copies left, and we are doing a reprint, and we're doing a reprint in paperback. This is without the cover, but to test that the binding will open nicely. And it is going to be a much reduced price from what the hardcover's cover price was $298, and the cover price of the paperback will be $128, and there will be special offers for people who purchase this in a pre-order. We will be taking, everything's been revised. We have the disclaimer from Midge. Midge gave us a lot of help, really important help, really upgraded my confidence level, and also didn't make any corrections in the book, just so you know, said that I had been really careful, and that was very acknowledging for me, because I was concerned. I am always concerned about practicing medicine without a license and teaching people to practice medicine without a license. I try to be 100% clear. Do not do that. And as Heather Leigh's expression is, stay in your lane and know what your lane is. And Midge really has given me confidence, and therefore gives all of you confidence about the crystal surgery syllabus and what we're doing, and being in integrity, which is extremely important to me. So that, I'm not sure when it will be ready. At this time, all university, college textbooks are being printed, so we will get into the queue for the printing, but I'm not sure when the paperback edition will be ready. I'm going to try and find out a projected date next week. And Mary Beth and I just finished yesterday with the final edits and additions and corrections to the paperback edition. There's not much that's changed. The disclaimer has been added, and it's a paperback edition. And the price is going to be so much more manageable and affordable. So that's what I have to say on that. I just do want to say, I said my topic would be crystal healing in the 21st century. And here I have the Wall Street Journal. And again, we've got the mirror writing, but this says, crystal craze drives risky mining. So here we have a full page article in the Wall Street Journal about crystals. And I just want you to know that crystals are really becoming more and more and more important in this century as people realize what their properties and capacities are. And we're at the forefront of that, as in our crystal surgery community. Now, is crystal surgery the only form of crystal healing? Absolutely not. Is it the best form of crystal healing? No, it's not the best form. The crystals are great, however you use them. However, what crystal surgery is a systematic method for working with somebody who's on your table already. So it's great, because when I did the Melody crystal healing training, I couldn't integrate that form of crystal healing into the sessions that I was giving, because for Melody's method, you needed to lie on the floor and have stones laid out all around you. So that was, you had to do these giant stone layouts, which you couldn't fit onto a table. And that was something that I could never integrate into my sessions and my work. So that is why I wanted to develop a way of working with crystals that could be harmonious and integrated into the sessions that I was already given. And I was very reluctant. I mean, Heather Leigh describes her journey with the Canine spirit guides in Avanyana. I mean, really, I was very, very reluctant. But they kind of pulled me around. I say this, I say, you know how a dog can pull you on its leash and pull you along? That's how the crystals, I always say that the crystals pulled me along like a dog pulling me by its leash. And that's exactly what they did. And that's, crystal surgery developed over a long period of time. But again, just like Heather Leigh saying, this is unbelievable, I only did this in 6 months. I say, this is unbelievable, I only did this in 25 years. Because honestly, there's over 100 techniques and procedures in here. And I don't know how I managed to get that together. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. And the level and that's not because that's everything that there is. It's because those are the ones that other people can do as long as they follow the steps correctly. So there's plenty more, and everybody can now. I'm teaching everyone, develop your own techniques as well. So that is really as much as I need to say today is that crystal healing is becoming more and more and more important. You ask Heather Leigh, or do the canine spirit guides use crystals? I know Anthea does. She uses white apophyllite. It's going to be everywhere, and it's everywhere in medicine, folks. It's very important to understand it. Titanium's been regarded now as the most biocompatible mineral, and it's used as replacement parts all over the body, from heart valve to joint replacement and so on. And that it's important to understand that we're in the crystal age. It is the technology of the 21st century, and all crystal healing is good. And as you all know, we have the radio show, and I talk to crystals on the radio show, and I will answer your question, Shaheen, about buying crystals ethically. And but I just want to say that I'm going to take the conversations with the crystals, where the crystals tell me what to say that other writers are not saying yet about them. Because I'm very impressed with what's available on the internet. Melody was always my go-to, and I read Naisha, but I've been looking online, and there's very impressive information there. But it's still limited in terms of how to access that property in the crystal and what to do with it. And I will be including that at the end of the conversation with the crystal, where the crystal gives me that message for you. I will also ask the crystals to say, now, how do you recommend? I'll let the crystals speak. How do you recommend that people use this in daily life or whatever? And we'll see what is said, because we get this long list of properties, and then you go, and how? How is that working? How is that happening? And that is my thing. I can speak to the crystals and ask them that, and they will give me the answer, and I will write it down, and I will share it with you. And we'll make ebooks of those crystal conversations, because that's going to be a nice, easy way to get that out there and save on the shipping. Because one thing I've learned in both the book and crystal industry is that the shipping industry benefits every way, in every which way possible, except now for the ebook situation. So can I say something quickly about buying crystals ethically? And I will just say, it's a very hard thing to buy crystals ethically, because you just don't know. And I do have one mine owner that I do buy from, and he's just amazing in terms of his knowledge of crystals. His name's Luis. He's actually in one of the videos that we've put up. We might be in more than one of the videos that we put up of us going to Tucson. And and what I'm going to do, Shaheen, is next time I'm in Tucson, which will be in January next year, I'll speak to him about buying crystals ethically and how far one can go with that. I think it's a very, very, very complicated request to put to yourself, and a very difficult one to carry through, because, it's an industry that's all across the world, and you're going to really limit what you can access if you're going to insist on certain kind of ethics. And my feeling about it is, and I have spoken to the crystals about it, is that once that crystal's out of the ground, best to honor it. And, one of the things that the crystals have told me is, we don't want to be in boxes. You've got to get us out to your clients, to your students, because that's where we belong. We belong in their hands. So I am going to be having a bunch of half price offers and kits and so on, so that these crystals stop sitting in boxes in my offices and get into your hands for doing the work. But unfortunately, I have not been able to be careful about what's ethically sourced and what isn't, because it's a virtually impossible thing to follow up on, and I'll be honest about that. But the crystals feel that once they're out of the earth, then just honor them, because they want to do the work and they want to be engaged and they want to be employed and they want to offer us what they've got to offer. So it's, are we encouraging something to continue happening that shouldn't be happening? Probably, but are we going to stop them by not getting the crystals and using them? Probably not. Okay. It seems like images of crystals can be just as powerful as the actual crystal. Have you found that to be true? If I have the relationship with the crystal already, and I've worked with the crystal and I understand its feeling and the connection with it, then I can just think of a crystal, and using an image would help me think of a crystal. But and I'd also say some images are better than others, but I must have personally experienced the crystal, otherwise the image isn't going to be that useful to me. But once I've experienced the crystal, I can hold the energetics of the crystal without having the crystal, and I can transmit those energetics. It's very hard work though. And one of the things that I love about crystal healing is how much support it gives you, because it would be exhausting to move that much energy on your own with your own mind, intention, and energy system. It's much better to let the crystal do it. So can an image of a crystal have power? I see that people are able to choose crystals from just seeing images and choose really well. So something's happening there. Something is good, but it's not going to be as strong as actually handling the crystal, because you've got to hold that intention. You've got to be the crystal yourself, and that's a very big demand on your energy system. And it does take training to hold that so strongly without doing yourself a mischief, without injuring yourself energetically. You've got to be very, very careful. There are some brilliant natural healers, but they get quite toxic from doing the healing work because they're not technically trained, and they're using themselves. And it's important to be able to just step away, set that boundary. But it seems like today the issue of boundaries can come up in each of our talks and what we're saying. And that's one of the things you want to be really, really careful about, using yourself and your own personal energy instead of delivering a technique or procedure. Yes, so Heather Leigh says the canine guides use the crystals virtually. Yes, and they don't have physical bodies, so they can't be injured. You'd see, one of the things you've got to realize is that your physical body, say that size of your energy, your physical body is that, and then you try and blast it with this much, like the size of your head, to come through. That is where the mismatch happens. That's when the injury happens, is that our physical bodies may not be strong enough and open enough to channel that kind of size of energy, but the canine guides will. Have obviously got massive power from the way Heather Leigh describes them. And so these are the things that we have to be careful about, is how much energy can move through your system. Most of us have got various blockages and issues going on that we have to be really aware and cognizant of the fact that might not be the best, even if we can do it for one client. I mean, if you want to earn a living as an energy healing practitioner, you need to be able to see 4 or 5 clients in a day. And if you're going to move that much energy for a single client, well, you're going to be exhausted. You're not going to be able to do the other 4 in the day. And that's one of the things I love about the crystals. They hold the energy, they transmit the energy, they emit energy. They do all kinds of stuff with the energy that I don't want to do that on my own anymore. I've been spoiled. I got my friends helping me, and I love it. Makes such a difference. Makes life so much easier. Plus, they know stuff I don't know. They know all kinds of things I don't know. It's great. I just need to know what kind of thing they know and engage them. It's fabulous. Oh, good. Canny says she's found an excellent crystal source in Australia. So you must let us know what kind of things they have, Canny. Yes. And Neil says to put the source in chat for everyone to see. And then Elizabeth wants to know the importance of energetic clearing of self. Yes, it's energetic clearing, but also because we're in a physical body, we need a body, mind, spirit alignment to do this work that is a little bit more complicated than just doing a quick energetic clearing. There needs to be a clear understanding of how to be grounded, how to be centered, which is different, because grounded means grounded to the earth. Centered means that there's the alignment between your different aspects, but you're free to travel. You're free to do what Heather Leigh's been doing. And you heard what she said. It took her a while to learn to let go of being earthed or grounded, and she couldn't get stuff, and she had to learn how to let go of that. So grounded and centered, they're very related, because you can't be grounded without being centered, but you can be centered without being grounded. And so there are two different dynamics that go hand in hand and very good. And centered means that your energy body is right in the middle of your physical body, completely surrounded by your physical body. No energy body part leaking out somewhere, which, let me tell you, is not easy. Not easy. So, we want to become more and more centered and also know when to be grounded and when to release grounding. Oh, that's very good, Kenny. Thank you for that link. That's very helpful. So, Elizabeth, yes, you want to energetically clear yourself, but you also want to look at mind and body centering and grounding when working, as well as the energetic clearing. Okay, I hope that's helpful. And also not to be intimidated by it. It all follows by intention. Everything follows your intention. If you just remember to add in that intention and then pay attention to what happens next and keep refining it and developing it, that's what I'm asking. Okay? Very good. Okay, any more questions? It's been the most wonderful afternoon. Thank you very much, Midge and Heather Leigh, and thank you all of you that, they're also on Instagram and TikTok, Kenny says. Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you for attending, for participating, for asking wonderful questions, for adding your energy to this, and we'll see you again at the next community Zoom, and we'll get this one posted for everyone, and we'll get the links that you're all sharing. Bye for now. Thank you.